Hello students, welcome to Alphos e-learning session 82. We are learning carbonyl compounds and previous session we discussed physical properties of carbonyl compounds and chemical reactivity. Which compound is more reactive than which one? Compared to aldehydes and ketones, which one is more reactive? Compared to formaldehyde and aldehyde, why less reactive? Compared to aromatic aldehydes, aliphatic aldehydes, why more reactive? All these things was learned in previous session. In this session, we are going to discuss chemical properties of carbonyl compounds. And first of all, chemical properties of carbonyl compounds. Carbonyl compounds basically have C double bond O group. Because of presence of C double bond O group, across this double bond, addition reactions preferably takes place. Addition reactions preferably takes place. Now, I am going to explain that addition reaction how happens. So, case 1. First one, a nucleophile approaches to the carbonyl carbon. Here it bears positive charge and oxygen bears negative charge. And in such a case, we are getting carbon nucleophile bond and O minus. And in next step, electrophile E plus attached to the oxygen, and we are getting O and E. So this thing happens generally. Means nucleophile first approaches to carbonyl carbon, and then electrophile. Means after attaching of nucleophile, preceding electrophile attacks. This one happens. Why this only happens? And these reactions generally we call nucleophilic addition reactions. These reactions what we call nucleophilic addition reactions. Now, if you observe complete reaction, actually both electrophile and nucleophile both are added. Then why we are calling these reactions are nucleophilic addition reactions? Because of first nucleophile is added, that's why nucleophilic addition reactions. No, not like that. Actually, both nucleophile and electrophile both are added. So after attacking of nucleophile, the formed anion is stable compared to what we are going to say stable. So before going to discuss that, one more possibility. So why, if I am going to write equation like this, first electrophile is going to attack because of this oxygen base negative charge and carbon base positive charge. First electrophile approaches to oxygen, resultant OE bond formed, and here positively charged carbon. Later, nucleophile has to approach, the nucleophile has to come and attack upon carbonyl carbon. Resultant, there will be formation of carbonyl carbon and nucleophile. So, if you say the first concept or first reaction or first method of reaction is nucleophilic addition reaction, then what you are going to say second one? Means how we have to call second one? In first one and second one, in both cases, if you observe, both nucleophile and electrophile both are added. In first case and second case, both nucleophile and electrophile are added, and you mentioned that this reaction is a nucleophilic addition reaction. Now my question is, even though both are added, why you are saying it is nucleophilic addition reaction instead of nucleophilic electrophilic addition reaction? Better to say like that, because both are added, not only nucleophile added, along with that nucleophile electrophile also added. That's why we have to say nucleophilic electrophilic addition. But this we are not calling like that. We are saying that only nucleophilic addition reaction. Why? Because of first nucleophile participated. If it is so, I am going to write reaction like this. What's wrong? Here first electrophile approach and oxygen electrophile bond formation takes place. Then positive charge appears upon carbon. Then nucleophile approaches to the carbon, and you are getting carbon nucleophile bond. Now I am going to write like this, and I am going to call as electrophilic addition reaction. Shall I call like that? No. Here two things we need to remember. First one, why you are writing like this? Why not like this? So if you think electrophile approaches to oxygen, and there will be a new bond formation between oxygen and electrophile, and positive charge appears upon carbon. The positive charge here formed is less stable, and if a nucleophile approach there, you are getting negatively charged one anion. This is a stable. So any reaction proceeds via formation of a more stable intermediate. From a more stable intermediate, we are always learning like that only. From more stable intermediate, we are getting major product. So here you are getting major product from more stable intermediate. Don't forget that. From more stable intermediate you are getting. That's why first path is correct and the second path is wrong. This path is wrong. Okay, fine. Whatever the path, okay, we accepted first path is correct because of reason is in case of first path, we are getting stable intermediate. Accepted. Now let's come to nucleophilic addition reaction. Why you named as a nucleophilic addition reaction instead of nucleophilic electrophilic addition reaction? Because of nucleophile, whenever nucleophile is participated, that step is slow step. Means initially nucleophile approaches to carbon and that step is slow step, and after electrophile attacking, that is a fast step. Because of in slow step nucleophile is going to take part, and while you are writing a rate law we are going to say rate is equal to some K into nucleophile into and carbonyl compound. We are going to write like this. So in rate law, nucleophile has to participate. Because of participating of a nucleophile, we are calling that reaction as nucleophilic addition reaction. Simply, even though nucleophile and electrophile both are added across carbon oxygen double bond or across carbonyl group, here attacking or approaching of nucleophile is a slow step and a rate determining step. Because of that reason, these reactions we are going to call as nucleophilic addition reaction rather than nucleophilic electrophilic addition reaction or only electrophilic addition reaction. Beyond of this nucleophilic addition reaction, carbonyl compound shows one more type of reaction. There, see, in case of aldehydes or ketones with respect to the C double bond O group, and this carbon what we call alpha carbon. Alpha carbon containing hydrogens are labile hydrogens. Alpha carbon containing hydrogens are labile hydrogens, also called enolizable hydrogens. Here what happened, one of the CH bond is going to take part in enolization. That's we are getting COH and H. So one of the hydrogen is migrating from oxygen to carbon, vice versa, or one of the hydrogen is going to oscillate in between carbon and hydrogen. That hydrogen is called labile hydrogen. Because of presence of labile hydrogen, this shows acidic nature. That means in carbonyl compounds, alpha carbon containing hydrogens shows acidic nature. Alpha carbon containing hydrogens are acidic hydrogens. Not only in aldehydes but also in ketones. In ketones also CH3 C double bond O CH3. Here this carbon is alpha and this carbon is alpha. Here two alpha carbon atoms are there. The CH bond is going to shift towards C double bond O group. Resultant we are getting CH3COH double bond CH2. Because of aldehydes and ketones readily undergoes, means they can undergo enolization. So this is what we call enolization, and this is enol, and enol form of carbonyl compounds is less compared to keto form. Enol form of carbonyl compound is less compared to keto form. But after losing proton, enolate ion is more stable. Enolate ion. For example, if this hydrogen is going to lose and you are getting enolate ion, and if you assume that hydrogen is going to lose from here, it shows acidic properties, and we are getting carbon ion CH2 C double bond OH. Out of these two, enolate ion and carbon ion, enolate ion is more stable because of in resonance structures. Here more electronegative atom oxygen if bears negative charge, then that structure is more stable compared to less electronegative carbon if bears negative charge. Hope you got point here. So even though enol form is less than keto form, enol form less than 1% only exists, and 99% exists as keto form. Even though enol form is less than keto form, here enolate ion is more stable than carbon ion. So carbonyl compounds also shows acidic properties. That acidic properties because of alpha hydrogens. If there is no alpha hydrogen, then obviously we can say there is no acidic properties for carbonyl compounds. Now, because of carbonyl compounds, both aldehydes and ketones almost have similar structure except formaldehyde. Formaldehyde is exception. Remaining aldehydes and ketones, when we compare, both are having similar structure. Here CH3 C double bond OH and CH3 C double bond O CH3. Means in case of ketones, two alkyl groups. In case of aldehydes, one alkyl group and one hydrogen are there. Fine. Now here these shows, these aldehydes and ketones shows few properties similar and few properties are different. Now I am going to classify these chemical properties of carbonyl compounds into two types. So those properties which shows same or similar by both aldehydes and ketones. The properties which shows the properties which are similar for both carbonyl compounds, means both aldehydes and ketones, which are similar for both carbonyl compounds, they are one type or one class of compounds, one class of properties. And second properties which are different for both aldehydes and ketones. Maybe if aldehydes may show, ketones may not show. Ketones may show, aldehydes may not show. So such type of properties I am going to mention as second category. Now let us first discuss on the properties which are similar for both aldehydes and ketones. Those properties which are similar for both aldehydes and ketones, but don't forget that except formaldehyde. And reactions for common for both aldehydes and ketones. Substitution reactions, as I mentioned just now here, alpha carbon containing hydrogens are acidic hydrogens that can be replaced by halogen atoms. That can be easily replaced by halogen atoms. That property is shown by both aldehydes and ketones. Both can show such properties. Now that properties are common for both. And the second one, addition reactions across C double bond O group, across carbonyl group, nucleophilic addition reaction. So nucleophilic addition reactions are quite common for both aldehydes and ketones. Of course, for aldehydes, as we discussed in the previous session, aldehydes reactivity is more than ketones, but both functioning is similar. And next one is reduction. So obviously aldehydes and ketones, which are nothing but carbonyl compounds, which upon reduction we are getting alcohols, but aldehydes gives primary alcohols, ketones gives secondary alcohols. So they may give different products, but their way of reaction is similar. And displacement, we can displace that carbonyl oxygen with two halogen atoms or with any other atoms. That means that the displacement we are getting similar properties, means C double bond O group will be replaced by CCl2 groups, right? And condensation reactions, third one is condensation reactions. All these properties are same for both aldehydes and ketones. Now let us discuss from first onwards substitution reaction onwards. Let us discuss first substitution reactions of carbonyl compounds. That substitution reaction shown by alkyl groups of carbonyl compounds. So substitution reactions by alkyl groups. Now I am going to consider acetaldehyde CH3 C double bond OH upon reaction with chlorine in presence of alkali. We are getting first monochloro CH2Cl C double bond OH, and further dichloro CHCl2 C double bond OH, and finally we are getting trichloro CCl3 C double bond OH. Here alpha carbon, this carbon is alpha carbon with respect to C double bond OH, adjacent carbon is called alpha carbon, and this alpha carbon containing hydrogens are acidic hydrogens. When we are using alkali base, obviously base in presence of base halogenation takes place. Easily. So when base abstracts proton, so that carbon attached to Cl and monochloro, after replacement of one hydrogen with chlorine, here this carbon containing hydrogens are more acidic compared to acetaldehyde. That means with increase in number of electron withdrawing groups. In this case, in first case, this carbon is attached to one electron withdrawing group, whereas in this case, this carbon attached to two electron withdrawing groups, C double bond O and Cl, both are electron withdrawing groups. And in third case, two chlorine atoms and one C double bond O are electron withdrawing groups. That means what happened here, with increase in number of halogen atoms, acidic nature of hydrogens increases. With increase in acidic nature of hydrogens, here here OH minus and Cl2. So in presence of alkali, halogen substitution takes place. Halogen substitution takes place much fast. And here not only aldehydes but also ketones. Let us consider acetone. Acetone upon reaction with alkali. So here there are two alpha carbons here. This carbon is alpha carbon, this carbon is alpha carbon, both are alpha carbons, and now base has to come and abstract any of these two hydrogens, resultant CH3 C double bond O CH2Cl, and after further substitution takes place at this carbon only, not at this carbon, because of compared to this carbon containing hydrogens are more acidic. Compared to this carbon containing hydrogens are more acidic. That's why here we are getting CH3 C double bond O CHCl2. Here further halogenation substitution and CH3 C double bond O CCl3. And this type of reactions already you was learned. If you recall in halogen derivative, trihalogen derivatives, haloform reaction. In haloform reaction, we was learned that the replacement or displacement of alpha carbon containing hydrogens with halogen atoms. Alpha carbon containing hydrogen atoms with alpha halogen atoms. Now this what we call the trichloroacetaldehyde. This trichloroacetaldehyde CCl3 C double bond OH CCl3 C double bond OH upon reaction with further alkali. Here what happened? This one reacts upon carbonyl carbon CCl3 CO minus and H. Here OH. Upon reversal, this CCl3 has to come out as CCl3 minus and HC double bond OH, and this CCl3 minus is stable because of 3 chlorine atoms here, and all the 3 chlorine atoms are strong electron withdrawing groups. Not only because of that reason, carbon containing negative charge is involved in resonance, means involved in pi bond formation with chlorine d orbitals. That's why here you should remember that order of stability CCl3 minus is greater than CF3 minus is greater than CBr3 minus is greater than CI3 minus. Stability order of CCl3 not only inductive effect in case of chlorine, and it also shows minus M tendency, means it accept or it can accommodate carbon containing lone pair into its vacant d orbitals. That's why here you are getting carbon chlorine pi bond CCl3 minus, and with one of the chlorine it forms day2 bond. But that tendency we cannot see in case of CF3 minus. Of course, here fluorine is a strong electron withdrawing group. And by inductive effect it stabilizes more. Fluorine stabilizes more by inductive effect, means minus I effect. But here chlorine stabilizes not because of minus I effect, and in addition to that, along with minus I, it also provides vacant orbital. Once this chlorine containing vacant orbital, once this chlorine containing vacant orbital, once this chlorine containing vacant orbital. That means that pi bond or day2 bond is going to participate in resonance. It's not fixed with only one chlorine. That's why here it is more stable. That's why stability order of trichloro. So CCl3 minus is greater than CF3 minus greater than CBr3 minus greater than CI3 minus. Now here one CI3, the CiCl3 minus is strong base. It abstracts proton from acid, and we are getting CHCl3 and HCO minus. This reaction was learned under the name of haloform reaction or also iodoform reaction. And so carbonyl compounds in which alpha carbon consists 3 hydrogens, generally participates in haloform reaction. Means in aldehyde family only acetaldehyde, except acetaldehyde no other aldehyde possess 3 hydrogens upon carbonyl carbon. And in ketone family, methyl ketones, this group must be same. CH3 C double bond O group must be same. CH3 C double bond O group. In addition to that alkyl group, whatever it may be, ultimately here you are getting negative charge here only. That means halogen displacement takes place upon this carbon only. Hence that one gives haloform reaction. And not only carbonyl compounds and alcohols also, those alcohols which upon oxidation gives acetaldehyde, and those alcohols which upon oxidation gives methyl ketones, such alcohols also responds here for iodoform test. And in general for iodoform test, not only alkali and halogen, here we are also going to use NaOH, means alkali, and I2. NaOH plus I2 gives rise to NaI plus NaOI, and NaOI is readily participates in the reaction for displacement. If you consider CH3 C double bond OH or CH3 C double bond OCH3, ultimately we are getting CHCl3. Here when we are using iodine, CHI3. Let us write reaction with iodine, CH3 C double bond OCH3 upon reaction with I2 and OH minus. Here we are getting CI3 C double bond OCH3, and later OH minus attacks upon this carbonyl carbon. Then we are getting CI3CO minus, here OH and CH3. Here O minus upon reversal, CI3 minus comes out, CI3 minus plus CH3 C double bond OH, and this is a base and this is the acid. In between these two, proton transfer takes place. CHI3, which is a yellow precipitate, and in previous sessions while we discussed that chloroform reaction only, I mentioned that CHCl3, CHBr3, CHI3 all are not same, but in general we are calling all are haloform. But CHI3 only yellow crystalline substance, CHI3. So this test, what we call the iodoform test, means directly instead of using alkali and halogen, you may give directly NaOI, sodium hypoiodide, hypoiodous acid HOI. From that you are getting, that's why directly you may give NaOI, even though that is correct. Now, the displacement of halogen not only takes place in presence of base but also in presence of acid. Not only takes place in presence of base but also in presence of acid. Let us see. Here in presence of acid or base, I am going to consider aldehyde. Aldehyde, I am going to use CH3COOH and Br2. Then product will be CH2Br C double bond OH. Even though in presence of acid, alpha halogenation takes place. How alpha halogenation takes place? Only in presence of acid. Here, generally we are going to consider in presence of base. Let us recall the mechanism. CH3 C double bond OH upon reaction with the base. What we are expecting, this base abstracts hydrogen here and CH2 minus C double bond OH. Right? And this is a resonance structure, CH2 double bond CO minus and H. Now, we are having halogen. Generally, we are using NaOH and Br2, or NaOH and I2, NaOH and Cl2. So, in such a case, how this minus is going to add with Cl plus, from where you are getting Cl plus. So, here we are not providing any Cl plus. Actually, what happened after formation of this enolate ion, towards this Cl2 has to come, and there will be a formation of three-membered chloronium ion like this. Upon reversal of this charge, this Cl will be shifted here, CH2Cl C double bond OH. But there is no direct displacement when Cl2 molecule approaches here, and this Cl bears positive charge and this Cl bears negative charge. And when it approaches to the double bond, this Cl sigma bond electrons are completely shifted towards next chlorine, resultant one of the Cl minus comes out and the Cl plus attached to the carbon-carbon double bond across that. Now, in case of acid, how that reaction proceeds? In case of acid, how such reaction proceeds here? Now let us see. When we are providing CH3 C double bond OH, we are giving H plus from acetic acid. Then we are getting CH2 CH3 C double bond OH H. Here it is going to bear positive charge. Whenever it bears positive charge, this pi electrons are pulled towards more electronegative oxygen. Then we are getting COH H plus. Now we are getting enol CH2 double bond C OH H. Whether it is base in base medium or in acid medium, in case of base medium enolate ion, or in case of acid medium enol. Formation of enol and enolate, that only difference. And here again Cl2 or Br2 approaches, and this Br2 molecule approaches here. This one gets partial negative charge and this one gets partial positive charge.
So when it approaches to the double bond center, this Br is acquiring more and more positive charge. This Br is acquiring more and more negative charge because of sigma electrons are shifted towards bromine. Resultant, we are getting CH, 2CH, OH and Br plus. In next step, here oxygen going to donate electron pair. Resultant, we are getting CH2Br, C double bond OH plus H. And this one deprotonation, CH2Br, C double bond OH. That means, if you observe here, in both acid and base medium, reaction proceeds same way. In acid and base medium, reaction proceeds same way. Okay? There you are getting enolate ion, here you are getting enol. So compared to enolate ion has strong tendency to pull their pi electrons, Cc pi electrons towards next carbon. Resultant, in base medium, this alpha halogenation or substitution more takes place. If a carbonyl compound do not have 3 hydrogens, then what happens? C double bond O, cyclohexanone. Cyclohexanone upon reaction with Cl2 and OH minus, we are getting monochloro. Means this hydrogen is going to take part alpha carbon, this one alpha carbon containing hydrogen, and the CH sigma bond electrons are involved in enolization. Resultant, we are getting cyclohexenol like this, and here Cl2 approaches across the double bond, and finally we are getting Cl plus and OH, and now this one gives electrons and this one turns. So here what happened? Final product is this one. Means if we do not have 3 alpha hydrogens, even though substitution takes place, and I am going to consider ethyl phenyl ketone, C double bond O, CH2, CH3. In this case, this carbon is with respect to carbonyl group, this carbon is alpha, this carbon is beta. Of course, this carbon also alpha carbon, but this alpha carbon do not have any hydrogens because 4 bonds completed. All 4 valence are satisfied. That means this hydrogen, here hydrogen is not there. Now this one upon treatment with bromine, and alkali, here you are getting bromination takes place at CH2 here and then CH3. That means only alpha hydrogen only going to take part in the reaction. Next, oxidation with selenium dioxide. Selenium dioxide is a selective oxidizing agent. It is a selective oxidizing agent. Selenium dioxide oxidizes alpha methylene group or alpha methyl group into C double bond O. With respect to carbonyl group, alpha carbon only gets oxidized. Let us see. Here CH3, CH2, C double bond OH. Here with respect to this carbonyl group, this carbon is alpha and this carbon is beta. Now this one upon reaction with selenium dioxide, it oxidizes only alpha carbon, and if it is alpha methylene, it converts into ketone. If it is alpha methyl, then it converts into aldehyde. Now here alpha carbon is methylene because it consists 2 hydrogens. So this is alpha methylene. That's why it will oxidize to CH3, C double bond O, C double bond OH. This is diketone. Means here alpha position, if it consists CH2 group, then it converts into keto group. And if alpha carbon consists CH3, alpha carbon is CH3, in such a case you are getting aldehyde. Let us see here CH3, C double bond O, CH3. Here with respect to the C double bond O group, both are alpha. Now upon reaction with selenium dioxide, both alpha carbon atom are not going to oxidize, only one. Then we are getting CH3, C double bond O. Now this one is going to convert into aldehyde. If you observe, here alpha carbon is a methylene group, it converts into keto group. Here alpha carbon is a methyl group, it also converts into aldehyde. Means alpha methylene into ketone and alpha methyl into aldehyde. Whether it is aldehyde or ketone, that depends upon nature of group here. Now in such a case, if you are having like this CH3, C double bond O, CH2, CH3. So if it is such a case, Then what happened here? Selenium dioxide upon oxidation, selenium dioxide. With respect to the C double bond, oh, this is alpha, this is alpha. Both are alpha carbons. So when both are different alpha carbons, one is alpha methylene and another one is alpha methyl. Alpha methylene and alpha methyl. Then there are two possibilities here. If only alpha methylene group gets oxidized, C double bond O, C double bond O, CH3. And one more product here, alpha methyl group gets oxidized, HC double bond O, C double bond O, CH2, CH3. So here, this product is a major product and this product will be a minor product. That means when you are having two groups means two alpha carbons, two different alpha carbons. One is alpha methylene, another one is alpha methyl. In such a case, we are getting two products of which product is major? Alpha methylene group readily oxidizes than alpha methyl group. Alpha methylene group readily oxidizes alpha methyl.
Now, if cyclic ketone is there, cyclohexanone is there,
This one upon selenium dioxide. Here with respect to this C double bond, this carbon is alpha, this carbon is alpha. Either of the carbon gets oxidized to ketone. So here you are getting diketone. That means when we are using selenium dioxide, obviously it oxidizes alpha carbon only. If it is a methylene group, it converts into keto group. If it is methyl group, it converts into aldehyde. But if alpha carbon consists only one hydrogen, in such a case oxidation is difficult. Means you are not getting any aldehydes or ketones. So you are not getting aldehydes or ketones if alpha carbon consists only one hydrogen. And next we are going to discuss other properties of carbonyl compounds.